see. Let me see. Let me check something real quick. See, microphone. Is it on? Yeah, it's on. All right, let me go ahead and start. 1 2 1 2. Good afternoon, everyone. It's Frank Ftdk's Dropping Knowledge. How's everyone doing? Hey, that's right, Nightmare. I don't know if you're watching. I know one person's watching. Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. And I just realized I made the thumbnail and I didn't add the camel. But it'll be next time. I'll do that next time. Hey, what's up, Mateo? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Shout out to you. How's everything, Miss Mateo? Hope everything's good. Hope everything's good with you too. Nightmare. Hope everything is good. All right, put the link right there. You guys already know it's always open panel. I got 6 people watching. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Hey, what's up, Cali Big Dog? Chilling, man. Chilling. Watch that game, bro. That was a good game. I enjoyed the game. I think Argentina deserves to win. I really do. And I'm going to be rooting for Argentina in the final. I'm going to be rooting for Argentina against Spain. I mean, I like Spain, but I want Argentina to win. Let me fix this a little bit. Give me a second. That's right, Cali Big Dog Nightmare. Yeah, man, Frank Ftdk's dropping knowledge, stocking papas. I think it's that same motorcycle. On a Wanton Wednesday, wonton. We're not talking about the wontons, right? That you eat. Steamed wontons. No. Wonton, like as in, something that is bad. There's no concern for rights, for feelings, or the safety of others. That's what wonton is. It's having no concern, like complete disregard, being reckless. That's what it is to be wonton. What's up, you Mateo? Nice to see you. Shout out to you. I dropped a video earlier. It's not a very long video. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. Hit the like. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Frank Ftdk's Dropping Knowledge, Stocking Papas Live. I'm not going to talk too much, Papas. I'll try to make it. I know I'll make it to an hour. If I can make it to an hour and a half, that'll be great. I might just make it to an hour. Like I told you guys, I've been feeling a little bit under the weather. I'm cool right now. I'm taking medication, so I'm straight. But I just want to rest a little bit. But not without coming on the live and doing what I do. We don't stop. We're going to keep doing what we do. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff going on. I saw, a lot of the content creators talking about, the YouTuber that was killed in his own home. I've seen a lot of reactions to that. I don't want to talk so much about the details of that, but just some of the energy around that, because it's not the first time that it's happened. It's already happened a few times where we see people that come out here and put out content be a target for an attack. Hey, good afternoon, Tikas and chat. At work on my break, so I'll have to catch up later on. Y'all enjoy the live and ET live. Have a good afternoon. All right. Hey, thanks so much, Hangman. Hey, that's good. Hey, on your break? That sounds cool. That sounds very good, man. Hope you're doing good, bro. We got to catch up. Shout out to the Hangman Stranger. Shout out to E. Mateo, Cali Big Dog Nightmare. What's up, Facto? What's good, Frank? Chilling, man. Chilling. What's up, Ill Mannered? That's right. Talk that papas. Yeah, we're going to talk some papas. Not too much papas. Ill man, that's right. Hey, what's up, OG Smalls, Frankie and ET Familia? Shout out to you, man. Look at all them papas. That's right, Facto, Kelly Big Dog. Ill Manner, I send mine to everyone. I'm going out, but I'm listening. All right, cool. Thanks so much, Ill Manner. Machete, being Wanton on YouTube is straight crash out behavior. Dudes will lie, stir the pot, and disrespect anybody just to chase views and clout. You know what? I'm gonna leave this comment up. Let me just get catch up with the ones that came in. Good to see you, brother. That's right, Facto. Okay, so I want to, and this is, hey man, thanks, Machete. You always, um, make a small resume, make it like a small, how do you call it? Man, I had it right on the tip of my tongue. But you're able to say what I'm already like what I want to talk about concisely, and that's exactly what I want to talk about. They ain't building nothing, they're just making noise, burning bridges, and selling their integrity for a few clicks. Yeah, man, and I want to talk, but like I said, I don't want to get too much into details. I just want to get into the energy behind it. You know, there's too much recklessness going on, wanton recklessness going on YouTube. And I'm not just talking about, in certain genres. I'm just speaking in general. I mean, there's a lot of disrespect going on. It's just crazy. It's crazy, you know. Now people can say, Frank, you're also disrespectful, and I know I am. I know that I can be disrespectful, but the people, if I'm directing my disrespect at anyone that isn't um Dubs or Gunner, if it's anybody else that I'm, being rude to or calling them out their name or whatever, it does not come unprovoked. Like, I did not seek these little battles. I did not seek them out, you know? And the thing is that if you let them go and you don't address, if you don't ever address them, then people start asking you like, hey, why aren't you addressing these things? Is it true? Is it true? And sometimes you just have to nip shit in the bud. But one of the things that I knew, like, before coming into YouTube, I've had a life of dealing with businesses. You have to, like, and in these roles, you understand, like, the terms and agreements, and you understand how the terms and agreements, hold you liable, legally, whether it's, civil, criminal, whatever it is, you know, what you're liable for, and also the intent of what you're doing. Like, all of these things you need to know before you can take on and come out and do things like this. Like, you need to know where the lines are. And you need to be able to always pinpoint where the threat is coming from. No, when you work with transnational companies, when you're working on VPNs, on computers, on all kinds of things that have to do with, with working with foreign companies, and these being transnationals, global companies, you have to know that there are breaches of contract that you can be liable for, what, either, civilly, where it's nothing but money, or criminally. Like, these are things you need to know. You need to know what constitutes what when you're working online. Now, I was doing that for years before I even thought about a YouTube channel. That's right. Good to see you, brother. That's right. That's right. El Manor, the Hangman. They ain't building nothing. They're just making. Yeah, that's right. Machete. That's right. Machete. Facto. Good to see you, brother. Don't judge me about the real ones. Move with respect, not reckless drama. Oh, no. You know what's up, bro. Hey, what's up, youngster? Long time no see. Sending mines, Frank and ET Familia. Hey, shout out to you, youngster. God bless you. God bless everybody, man, that's on the chat. And I want to, right now, I want to pause a little bit and just, send my respect, send my condolences once again. Now that I'm on the live, to Mike Morello and his family. We lost his wife. And well, it's a big loss. She was truly a part of what we do. She supported my channel. She was on the chats. If I would go late night, she would go late night too. I mean, she was, and she will always be Exposed to Revolution. Shout out to Exposed to. Shout out to ladies of Exposed to. Shout out to Mike Morello and his family. We're gonna keep Sunshine's memory alive all the time. It don't stop because she didn't stop. She never stopped. She was always there. And always thinking how to add everybody into her songs. Like I remember she was kind of worried that she hadn't gotten everybody in one of her songs, man. Hey, rest in peace, Sunshine. Rest in power, Sunshine. That's all I can say. So that's why, thinking of all of these things, right? Thinking of all of these things, we really need to consider what it is that people are doing and putting out there online. What is the energy they're putting out there? And can you pinpoint the threat? You have to know that once people start acting a certain way, wanton disrespect, recklessness online, you need to kind of step back. Like I always say, just, take a step back, observe, and just observe. Just watch and observe. That's all you got to do. Because we really, really, really need to be aware that what we're doing online crosses a lot of lines. It crosses a lot of lines. You're dealing with companies when you're dealing with on YouTube. There are investors. I think YouTube trades publicly, doesn't it? Let me check. Let me see. Oh, okay. So it's in Google bought YouTube. Google is owned by the parent company Alphabet. Alphabet stock. Okay, so yeah, at the end of the day, YouTube per se is not traded, but Alphabet is. So if YouTube is under the umbrella of Alphabet, then you already know that there are those rules involved. See, 11-person Mike Moran family. That's right. Look at these guys. Hey, man, you can think what you want, bro. And if that's what you think, good. I hope you believe that. Hey, that's a good thing to think, really, about me. Yes, I'm scared. Anyways, see, that's why when people talk about freedom of speech and all of these things on public platforms, you got to remember that they're not so public. They are being traded on the stock market, and though there are rules that apply. And if it's trading on the stock market, it cannot be a product that you could say is detrimental, even though obviously you've got all kinds of arms manufacturers that are trading. They just trade under like nice names. They sound nice, but that they manufacture arms and weaponry. I mean, hey, those are detrimental to our health. But these like public platforms and social platforms, they're being watched. They're being watched. They're being, and not the way that these weirdos say it. No, they're just being watched by, whistleblowers, by all kinds of people that are trying to find a crack in the armor. There's also like counter surveillance. I mean, you can just find anything really going on YouTube, and a lot of it is just wanton, reckless behavior. Like just making threats or just talking about certain things. Like you're truly putting yourself out there and you're being reckless about it. That's why today is Wanton Wednesday. Frank Ftdk's dropping knowledge, stocking papas on a Wanton Wednesday. You cannot come out here and be reckless for a number of reasons. and not just criminal reasons, which is like the first place a lot of these fools, like their mind automatically jumps into like criminal, but they don't know that before all of that there's also the inner rules, the contracts that have to be upheld. That is really what keeps everything in place, is the contracts. How about you? Yeah. Anyways, when ET talks about contract law, shout out to ET, man. Like, this is exactly the type of thing that we're talking about. Now, there's some views that he has that are very particular, and I respect them. But as far as like the contract law part of it, I mean, that's pretty much what rules the world. Contracts rule the world. That's why you get the fine print in everything you do. If you're going to get married, there's fine print. If you're going to get a credit card, there's fine print. If you're going to enroll your kids in school, there's fine print. All of that is in there. Let's see. Wall Street is the bane of our country. 90 some percent of the market is owned by the upper 10% of wealth, and somehow it dictates our exactly, it does. That would be what ET calls contract law. You know? And when you deal with contracts and you deal with international companies and you deal with, just online and software and, you know, being able to use servers, locate servers, pinpoint servers, things like that, because you have to find like threats, you know, you have to find anything that can breach the security of the information of these companies. I remember when there was a breach of credit card information from Target stores. That was like a few years ago, but it was very big. This happened in the States, but it also impacted the way that we were working down here, because now that became something that had to be considered across all boards of security, and how we communicated things and the type of information we recollected, how long you hold on to that information, are the servers that hold that information secure. Like we just needed to know and be on top of all of that. Like, these are like the underlying aspects of business that sometimes we don't consider, but are already there. Like, those sensors are already there. Like, right now there's probably a few sensors going off because of this conversation. Hey, man, I'm just here talking papas. I'm just talking papas, frankly, because dropping now is talking papas. Hey, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just talking papas. Live on a Wanton Wednesday. That's not the true, that's not my point, but I'm just trying to build a premise for people to understand that you can, like, say a lot of things to impress the court of public opinion, but when you bring it down to the bare basics of just contract law, you'd be surprised that a lot of it is superfluous. A lot of it is just superfluous. A lot of the narratives, a lot of the things that you think that you can create, that you think you can get away with, is superfluous. But when you get down to the nitty gritty of it and you want to take it an extra level, that's when it gets weird. When people start to understand that there's always a measure, someone's always watching. Our words are already being taken into a data bank, and it's already feeding AI across the world just by using the software that we use. Like, part of the fine print in that is the fact that everything we talk about, there's a history of it, there's a record of it. Like, what do these guys don't understand? Like, how is it that people think? Yeah, that's right, Mr. Oxnard. Nice to see you, Mr. Oxnard. Shout out to you. Let's see, Wall Street is yeah. So, Mr. Oxnard, shout out to you and your family, man. God bless you guys. Mr. Oxnard, Machete, no wonton, don't crash out for clout, stay solid, keep it real, don't feed the drama, respect and integrity. Yeah, exactly, bro. And that's why, that's my approach to what I do. Regardless of the narratives that they're trying to put out there, I'm just like, whatever, man. You guys really got to pay attention to what's happening with these other guys. That's right, Mr. Oxnard, Primo. Let's see. All of these companies take our sensitive data when they charge us and then sell off with their frequent accidental leaks and hacks. They stay though. Yeah, of course. Triple dipping because then they sell them the software so it doesn't ever happen again. They'll sell them the patch or they'll give them a patch that's even more intrusive. But I don't know what I'm talking about. Man, I'm just talking papas. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge. I'm just talking papas. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about on a Wanton Wednesday. But look, I wanted to set the premise just so you guys understand that there are already measures put in place. Like there's already been too many precedents of weird shit going on online that these companies take full precaution because this is their bread and butter, like being able to connect people and have them come on lives, and for all of this to work, they have to be allowed to function. And the only way that they can be allowed to function is if they respect a bunch of laws. That's what contracts are all about. Oh, I love billionaires, monopolies, and CEOs, and my tongue stays on the books of the government. They're my favorite. Anything I say to the contrary. It's just papas. It's just papas, It's just papas. Right? But a lot of wanton recklessness goes on just in YouTube alone. And it always comes from people in which someone is trying to prove a point, someone is trying to make themselves known, someone feels so disrespected that they feel that they have to put some kind of permanent stop to where that disrespect is coming from. Now this particular person that has been discussed and is continued, they're continuing to discuss, did make a lot of comments that he shouldn't have made. For any of the reasons that you can think of, like whether you think of it from what I explained regarding what's allowed and what isn't allowed to be spoken on social media, things like that, without at least a disclaimer or something, um, for agitating people, dangerous people, agitating dangerous people, that's totally different than playing for the court of public opinion. You cannot play for the court of public opinion and think you can, by winning that, you're covered with this disrespect that that you had for these other people that aren't, not only are they not fans of yours, but the fact that you're calling them out and that you're forcing them to act. You're forcing them to act. No, and I think that that's the problem. The problem is when wanton recklessness, whether it's online, whether it's in real life, provokes someone to say, okay, you know what? The disrespect has gotten to be enough. But once again, you want to make sure that your actions merit the situation. Because even in how you respond can be reckless. No, we walk a fine line here a lot of the times between, putting out content, talking about certain things, taking on the people that hate on us and the disrespect and all of these things. We walk a fine line between trying to present facts and putting a mirror to some of these things, and also constantly you know getting on the defensive or on the offensive, whichever the two, because of provocations. But my whole thing is, some provocations are merited and some aren't. And you can play the court of public opinion all you want, but those that truly hold power in these situations, those that, the owners of the platform that you're speaking on or that you're speaking about, they can pull your plug at any time, you know? And I'm talking metaphorically, of course. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking papas online, you know, on a Wanton Wednesday. Like, what we discuss, what we talk about, we just have to be very careful. Now, once again, I always say this, and I'm going to say it again. And every time that we hit on this type of topic, is that there are going to be people that can talk whatever they want to talk in front of a camera, and they're going to go ahead and do it behind the camera, like outside of the camera too. Like in real life, they will be able to handle, whatever it is that they're saying to the fullest, and they don't care. And there are people like that. No, hey, I respect them. I wouldn't mess with them. you know, why would I want to mess with someone like that? Like, why would I want to mess with someone that I know, if pushed hard enough, can destroy everything? And a lot of these guys, a lot of these content creators know that they come out here disrespecting like people that don't need to be disrespected. They mention things they shouldn't mention. And it comes back and bites them in the ass. You know? And it's crazy, because imagine when like I said, like when I started my channel, like I wasn't expecting to have like all of the all of the drama that has come up, because I wasn't seeking it with a lot of these people. They just decided that I was a target for them. It is what it is. But like I said, I'm pretty good at pinpointing things. I got a little bit of backing, a little bit of training, you know so I don't really sweat it. But there are people that will be disrespected that will take it to heart. There are people that when they get disrespected, they will take it to heart, and they will find or seek ways to get at whoever they feel or whatever it is that is disrespecting them. And this is why we cannot come out here and be wanton with our words, with our actions. No, we have to be very careful. Very careful. It's very, and it's kind of, I don't know. I think about it, and I think like, man, a lot of people like to make threats online. I don't know why. They enjoy making threats online. No, they enjoy doing these things for the camera. They enjoy doing these things for views, for likes, whatever. But we have to be very careful about what we're saying, what we're putting out there. You cannot be wanton. And that goes back once again to real life. Like, I don't know if you guys see like those videos where sometimes like a racist may call someone out of their name or might use a racist remark on someone, and that person turns around and beats them up. And then the person will be like, but I didn't do anything. I only called you this. Like, you disrespected me. I felt disrespected. This was the response that I gave to that disrespect. And like I've always said, you cannot tell the person that's being disrespected how to react to your disrespect. You can't tell them, okay, look, because I disrespected you this way, you have to stay like this. Okay, you know. Hey, what's up, Looney Tunes? Chilling, man. We're over here, you know. Thanks for stopping by, man. Thanks for watching. I got 15 people watching. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We go live every day, always putting out content. I dropped a video earlier. If you haven't watched it, please do so. I drop shorts, I drop videos, I go live. You know, we're continuing to do things and move along with the Exposed to revolution. Shout out to ET, ladies of Exposed to, everybody that's a part of the revolution. Shout out to Mike Morello. Well, stay strong, bro. Stay strong, man. You know, I was thinking about Sunshine. I'm like, Sunshine, even she had a little bit of taste of some of that online disrespect, and I stop and I think, I'm like, man, she was a woman that didn't deserve to be disrespected whatsoever. Sajay Slaughter. But sometimes people are wanton and reckless with the disrespect and with the things that they do. And you got to be careful. You can't do that, man. That's why, look, a lot of people get at me a certain way, and I try to laugh it off, and I have made videos on people. But that's as far as I'll ever go. you know, I have nothing to prove, nothing to prove to anybody. But if it came down to like a life and death thing, if it came down to a livelihood thing, where I feel that I'm being put at risk, or it's being put at risk, that's a whole different thing. Now, you can tolerate disrespect. Like, go ahead, disrespect me. You know, I mean, who isn't? Who hasn't? Like, I've seen so much disrespect in the last 5 months. I've been disrespected more than I have in my whole life. Straight up. And it'll continue, but I'm gonna keep doing what I do. So, as far as me, like if I was one of these private companies and I saw the type of disrespect that I got, I would be like, that's nothing. It falls under the norms. Now, what doesn't fall under the norms is when people make threats, like actual threats, and not just life and death threats, just any type of threat. That's not cool within the parameters of anything. And if someone were to threaten you up front in your face, you're going to take action. You're not going to let it just go. You're not just going to walk away from it thinking, oh, okay, yeah, that guy threatened me. Ha, 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 yeah, okay. No. You're going to make sure that it's understood that that's not acceptable. Not at all. And that's what happens a lot of times. That's what happens, unfortunately, I don't know. I was watching something, and someone was saying, that people feel comfortable behind the screen. I agree. I think, people feel comfortable behind the screen. I feel comfortable behind the screen. Being able to talk to you guys from where I'm at and connecting with all of you guys, I feel comfortable with that. Do I feel comfortable with having to defend myself constantly and talking shit all the time? Not all the time. I'll do it. Like, I won't think twice about it. But at the end of the day, that's not how I'm going to spend my time. That's not what I come online for. I don't come online for that. If I put out content, it's because I want to always deliver a message, a little bit of a message, a little bit of knowledge. And for example, when you're doing wanton, reckless shit online or in real life or wherever, you have to know that people are watching, people are looking, people are, they're taking it in. It's being recorded somewhere, even if it's in the back of the mind of people. But everything we do, everything we say, if we do it out in public, you need to understand that We're all being watched. All of us. All of us are being monitored. Like how much do you really think that you can get away with outside of, once again, the court of public opinion? Because that's one thing. Like you can have a lot of people like laugh it up and clap and and like your content because you're going out there being disrespectful, doing all of these things. And that's that's one way of getting a lot of views. That's one way of making a channel grow. But like I said, not all money is good money. That's something that I live by. Not all money is good money. And I've given you guys examples of that. I've had people come at me, hey, Frank, act as though you're this and I'll pay you so much. But, I'm trying to get this girl, trying to go out with her. So can you help me out? No. It wasn't even going to be that hard for me to do it. But not all money is good money. And at this point in my life, I wouldn't risk what I have, the way I live, for some bullshit. And I'm sure a lot of you, and the majority of you that watch, the majority of you that are subscribed, feel the same way. We're trying to give good examples to these people. We're trying to give good examples to our kids, to the youth, to anybody that's watching. We're trying to, always offer you another point of view. And that's what my channel is all about. Unfortunately, sometimes I have to come out here and I don't have to. I decide to come out here and talk my papas. Sometimes I gotta talk papas. Frank Tico's dropping all his talking papas on a Wanton Wednesday. When he woke up after rain on in the fire, or then he made threats online. Yeah. I send my respects in full to everyone showing support to the channel. So, hey, thanks so much, Machete. Hey, what's up, Egyptian lover, the Tikanator chat? Yeah, man, we're over here talking papas. I got 16 people watching. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I drop content every day. I dropped the video earlier. Please go watch it. Hit the like. Thanks so much for being here. Everybody that's come through, I appreciate you. Now is it easy? Is it easy? It's not always easy. Sometimes you just want to go off the top, when you're disrespected. I mean, in real life, like I have patience, but I'm also not too patient when it's like clear disrespect. Like if it's clear disrespect, I don't have too much patience for it. I'll give a couple of warnings, like just for everyone within earshot to hear, like within, that can hear it. Hey man, kick back, stop it. Hey, chill out. Once they put a hand on me or once they try to get physical, then that's my invitation to nip it in the butt. Frank, I know ET was looking for a pic of the senior. He's on that popular social media platform. Starts with the. Oh, really? Okay. All right. I know what you're saying. I don't know, bro. We'll see. Shout out to Exposed Tube, man. Shout out to ladies of Exposed Tube. Shout out to Terps, Sooners, Hangman Stranger, Taco Stain, Ghost, everybody that puts out their content. Shout out to everyone. Who else? I think Runner, you put out content too. If Runner's Pug is listening, shout out to Runner's Pug as well. Egyptian lover is not a troll, just a supporter of some. Egypt, Machete, what's up, Machete? Orale the disclaimer. That's right. That's right. Anyways, we have to be careful. I mean, we just have to be careful. That's all I can say. You got to be careful what you're doing out there. There's too much wanton disrespect. There's too much wanton reckless speech on YouTube. And honestly, that's one of those things that I'm focused not to fall into. Like, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to defend myself. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to, put out content. That does not mean that. What it means is that you're never going to hear me like crash out like these guys do, where they make threats and do all of these things. I know people want to say that I do, but I never have. And it will continue to be that way. Hey, what's up, Miss Yaya? Frank and Chat, nice to see you, Miss Yaya. Hey, Argentina, if you didn't watch the game with Argentina, I think Argentina deserved the win. Just so you know, they deserve to win. At 76, yeah. Miss Yaya, that's right. Egyptian. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge talking papas live. Wanton Wednesday. You cannot be wanton with how you go about doing your thing on a daily basis. Be respectful. I mean, learn to control yourself. Learn to be respectful. If it's hard for you, push yourself to be respectful. Push yourself to be courteous. Push yourself to open the door for an elderly person walking by, whether it's a woman or a man. Now, you're going to be elderly too one day, God willing, and He gives you life. But you know, if people are out here doing reckless things, speaking recklessly about people and organizations that they know do not take lightly to those types of things, you have to understand that it's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. Let's see, you already demonstrated that what happens when Mambi tries to take his online persona. That's right, yeah. G Slaughter, that's right, yeah, for sure. Lady Tino, same name. Okay, cool. I don't know, man. Hey, what's up, X-Rated? What's cracking, Frank? Hope you're having a good day, bro. Hey, likewise, shout out to you, bro. Yeah, man, I worked, I watched the game, I put out a video. I've been pretty productive. I'm a productive individual. You guys, the thing is, you guys don't see all that I do. Look, I took out the trash, brought in the trash cans. I sweat like I do this. I try to sweep the living room and the kitchen in the morning. Like I do that, and when it's trashy, I take out the cans and I bring the cans in. Did my 8 hour shift. While I was on my shift, I made a video, dropped it, put out a social commentary on YouTube. Now I'm live with all of you. Shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for watching. There's 22 people watching. Please hit the like if you haven't already done so. I try to get as much done, man. I try to occupy my mind and my time to the fullest extent. And I do get rest. I have learned how to unplug. And kind of go into like into sleep mode, like the devices go into sleep mode. I'll go into sleep mode, but once you move a button around or you touch the pad, it lights up. That's kind of how I am. I can sleep, but I'm a light sleeper. Something will wake me up and then I'll be up at 100%. That's right, X-Rated. A lot of people are doing wonton stuff online, and we know and we understand, and we should know and understand that there are consequences to that. Some people just like to play with fire. Some people enjoy playing with fire. That's part of their brand, is playing with fire. If they didn't have that element of danger, they might not have the views that they have. If it didn't have that element of danger, right? But is it really sustainable? Is it sustainable by them having that type of channel? Are they being magnanimous? Will they be able to wing it when it all falls down? They're way out there, like Way Out Wednesday, where it is. Frank, they let you know he's running. All right, I'll let him know, bro. Okay, cool. I'll let him know, man. You have to be careful, man. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. I'm just, personally, I personally don't enjoy going back and forth, but I can do it. Like I have no problem doing it, but I don't like it. I prefer not to. No. What I don't like is when, the ones that provoke it all of a sudden want to take nuclear methods to try to end it. It's like, wait a minute, why provoke it then? Like, why start off? Like, why start off the situation? Why provoke people to anger? Why, push buttons? And then when it's your turn, all of a sudden it's not cool. Oh, okay, now the other person's out of bounds. Just don't start shit. Like I said, I know that I took position against Dubs and Gunner, and that's where I stand still. I'm still right there. I'm still in opposition, and I will continue to be in opposition of them while they continue to do all the weird stuff that they do online. Because of my stance against these two people, you have all these other people that aren't them that attack me. I have to take that into account, which I have, and I continue to put out content. Same for ET, same for Ladies of Exposed Tube, same for Taco Stain, same for Turfs, same for Sooner, same for all of us. We all know like what we're up against. But once you take it from there, from the trolling, the insults, all of that, that's one thing. Once you want to elevate that or you want to weaponize that to something else, then you're entering unknown territory because you don't know how the other person's going to react. You don't know if the other person already saw that you exposed your hand and is waiting and is lying in wait. You don't know. And that's the danger of playing these games. That's the danger of it. But once again, some people will do it and they'll stand by it 100%. I stand by my content. I stand by what I continue to do. I stand by the content that I put out. I stand by these lives. I stand by my association to the Exposed Tube Revolution. I stand by that. I'll continue standing by it because I know, the censors know, the people watching know, everyone involved knows what I put out there. What's out there? It's out there. Everything. That's why you have to learn how to pinpoint where things come from. And you can only do that when you do what? When you sit back, watch, and observe. Listen, pay attention. Pay attention. That's all I can say. They love to clutch their pearls and act taken aback when it's time to. Yeah, I don't respect that. You can play that in the court of public opinion all you want. But if you try to take that anywhere further than that, then you have to realize that maybe we've already thought about it. I don't know. But that's why I don't play these games. That's why, once again, when I come out here and I put out this type of content, like what I'm doing right now, I want people to understand also what my stance is. I'm not for all of this weirdo stuff going online. That's the whole point of my channel. It's because there's glorification of prison. It's because of all of this cosplaying. It's because of all of these things, the violence is spoken, that things like this occur. People forget. They really think that they're protected. They really think that nothing can get to them. But let the censors work. Let the censors work. Let them do their job. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking papas live on a Wanton Wednesday. Don't be wanton with your actions. Don't be disrespectful to people. You don't know who's standing in their corner. You don't know who they know. Hey, that's right, Looney. Hey, shout out to you, Looney. Thank you so much for the donation, man. God bless you. May the Lord multiply it 1,000-fold, bro. Good health, protection, a good job, man. Thank you so much, bro. Thanks so much. I truly appreciate and am humbled whenever you guys, support my channel. When you guys come and watch and you're kicking it with me, thank you so much, Looney, for the donation, man. God bless you, bro. And shout out to everybody that's watching. I got 14 people in. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. What you guys need to realize is that everything that you put out there is there. Even if you delete a channel, even if you delete a video, even whatever, you put it on a public platform, and that public platform is obligated to hold on to a lot of that material on their servers for an undisclosed amount of time. Maybe the contract that you sign will say one thing, but deep in the back of their business model, it's probably double or triple that. That's right, G Slaughter. Looney Tunes, that's right. Like how long media is stored, whether it's audio, whether it's video, whether it's a combination of the two. There are standards as to how long those need to be held on to for legal purposes. Don't think that by deleting your videos, and all the things that you wrote from the users that you used, from the IP addresses, don't think that like went away it doesn't go away. That's why if you notice, I don't delete none of my stuff. I think I may have deleted one video a long time ago because I think I ended it wrong. But that was way before I even thought about exposed to, or coming and doing what I do. Time to make posters. Let me know when you're fine. Okay. Anyways, man. Don't be wanton about your actions. I remember there was this one kid in junior high. He looked nerdy. He was a little obnoxious. I used to talk to him. I didn't have a problem with him, but I knew people had a problem with him. He was like a nerdy kid that was obnoxious. Used to make like dumb comments, like out loud. Like someone would be talking, he would kind of overhear it, and then he would make a comment, laugh about it, and he had like a very distinctive laugh. So I figured, because this was like the beginning of the school year. This was 8th grade. And I figured he was going to run into some problems. And he eventually did. So some of the guys were like, man, you know what? I guess he had disrespected, or he had said something about his, a girlfriend of one of these guys that was about it in junior high. And they approached him. And he didn't deny it. And because he didn't deny it, they kind of warned him. They kind of pushed him around. They didn't beat him up. They didn't jump up. They just pushed him around. And they told him not to mess with the girl, with that girl, or any of their girls. I don't know how it went down, but that was basically what was told. That was the rumor. That was what was going on. Okay. Now, what happened is that this little kid, this little weirdo, his family were involved, and he was white. They were bikers, and not just any bikers. And they ended up waiting after school one day, and the kid went and led him to those kids. And the bikers told him, you mess with them, we're going to come back and wreck your whole thing. They weren't playing around. And sometimes we don't know. Like, look, you don't know, and that's why you got to be careful. Don't be wanton about your disrespect and what you're doing. Especially when you know. And this guy, unfortunately, knew. He knew. I told you guys, like, I opened up one video I opened up. And I opened up right halfway through the video. I listened to about 2 minutes of it. Within the first 30 seconds of where I had started the video, he started going into the factions. The ones that Joker loves to talk about disrespectfully. And you can't do that and expect there not to be some kind of repercussion. Like, you could do a one-off and maybe survive, but man, if that's your content, you're putting yourself in danger. Why do you want to do that? Bikers are not bad people. No, they're not bad people, but they threatened them pretty bad. I mean, they got their point across that they weren't going to take any disrespect. And I don't, but there are certain bikers that are about it too, that aren't necessarily on the right side of the law. And a couple of them, were like his uncles, I guess, were not necessarily the type to turn the other cheek. We just have to understand, man, we cannot go through life being disrespectful, thinking that people are just going to laugh it off, or that we're going to be able to get away with, oh, it's just content, it's just the internet. It doesn't work that way. There's a fine line we walk. We walk a very fine line when you're disrespectful. Wherever you're disrespectful, you're walking a fine line. People will react to your disrespect. Hey, how's it going, Mimi? Hey, chat. Hey, Frank. Hey, what's up, Mimi? Shout out to you. Shout out to Blue. Shout out to your families. God bless you. Miss Yaya, Mr. Oxnard. Got Egypt here. Machete. Jay Slaughter. We had Ill Mannered Looney. Thank you so much once again. X-Rated. Miss Yaya. You have to be very careful. So, I mean, and once again, look. Sometimes you're going to pop off at the mouth, and sometimes we're going to be online. We might say something, and it might come off as disrespectful, whatever. But being disrespectful and making like actual threats or disrespecting, certain factions, that's not going to happen with me. And that's why, with the Exposed to Revolution, that's what we say. We transcend all of that. We don't talk about that. We don't need to talk about it. Why do we want to talk about those things? And the only reason why it comes into the conversation now is because what we do is we point out those things that we feel shouldn't be done online. And that's one of those things that shouldn't be done online. There are very susceptible people that think, okay, well, if this YouTuber is out here like talking so crazy, like in public about these factions, well, maybe I can start a channel. Maybe I can get a following doing the same thing. That's the danger of it. That someone else might get caught up in the same type of action because they think it's okay because they're watching you. They're watching you. They're watching you do it. They're watching you out here glorifying, cosplaying, talking papas, like Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking papas live on a Wanton Wednesday. But I'm just talking papas. But there's some of you dudes out here that come out. Like if you guys were like out there on the street, like, come on. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. That's right, Egypt. Let's see, off to work. Catch y'all later. All right, Mimi, take care, man. Hope you have a good shift. Be safe. You cannot be wanton about how you get. Now, once again, and let me, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm giving you guys advice. I'm giving you a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of a message, a little bit of knowledge, right? Hey, that's right, Jay Slaughter. But to each his own. And once again, there are people that will come out here and they will say what they want to say because they will back it up and they don't care. I think, and one of the reasons why I kick it and I'm support and continue to support and continue to be a part of the Exposed to Revolution is because I know ET is not just talking, and I respect that. Now, would I do? Would I be as down or no? But I'm not. Straight up, I'm not. But that doesn't mean that I won't defend myself or my family if I were facing threat. I mean, that's a whole different thing. You know? That's right, Shankopotamus. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, man. But I know that there are people out there that are about it, that will talk about it. Hey, and I respect that. But they're not out here disrespecting people as wantonly as a lot of the people that aren't about it. I've been wanted out. I've been wanted, but never wanton. That's right. I was wanted for a few hours, and they caught up real quick. I don't have the book, so I'm working on a workaround. All right, cool. Anyways, hey man, it's Frank Ftdk's dropping knowledge, talking Popeyes live on a Wanton Wednesday. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. There's 12 people watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you very much. Those of you that are on the chat as well, thank you so much, Looney, for the donation, man. I appreciate you, bro. God bless you, man. We have to be careful. That's all I'm saying. You know, I first heard about it because I saw Slugs talking about it. Now, I mentioned Slugs. Shout out to Slugs and his channel. And then I went to watch exactly what happened to the news report and also to some of his videos. You know, I think he was an intelligent person, but I don't know what happened. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to him that he felt that it was okay for him to speak and to act as wantonly as he did. I don't know what it was. You know, I don't know how far you can get into this YouTube clout thing that you can lose your mind and, you know, just look for likes and views and subscribers by any means necessary. I don't see it that way. It's not that serious. I've been wanted at the court and airport, but I try to steer clear of being wanted. Yeah, I've been wanted too, bro. I used to work at a place that would wand all of the employees in and out, going in and out. It's crazy, man. I trip out. I trip out. And it's at the same time, it's sad. At the same time, it's, you know, it's a cautionary tale. It's a cautionary tale. That's right. Hey, what's up, Terps? Buenas tardes, saludos y respetos. Hey, shout out to you, Terps. Hey, Terps is in the house. Please, if you haven't subscribed to Terps, if you haven't watched his videos, please do so. He puts out content. He has his channel. Give him a subscribe. Give him a like. Shout out to Terps, man. Shout out to Sooners as well. Exposing the YT Yarda. And everyone else putting out content. Hangman Stranger, Ghost. I saw that, you know, Runner's Pug also puts out shorts and, you know, support everyone. That's right. Terps, Egyptian. I like my wontons with orange chicken. Just I like wontons too, bro. As a matter of fact, I had some over the weekend. Yeah, you got to be careful, man. That's all I'm saying. And you can't expect people. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you slap someone in the face, you can't expect that person to just come back and slap you back. No, they're going to beat you down. They're going to stomp on you. They might even spit on you while you're on the floor, and they're going to make you wish you hadn't slapped them. You know, and sometimes life does that to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone. Oh dear, I just found that. Okay. That's right, Terps. You can't be wanton about how you get down, man. You cannot be reckless. You really have to think about it. You really have to see what you're getting yourself into all the time. And at the same time, you have to realize that there's already sensors in place measuring everything that's going on. You know? Just be intelligent. Be intelligent. That's all. Have some knowledge. Frank D comes dropping knowledge all the time. Live talking papas today on a Wanton Wednesday, man. Listen, that's why I come out here. I want you guys to be a little more knowledgeable, and I want you to steer clear of things that might get you wrapped up. That's all I'm saying. I want to see people doing good, man. Look, I wouldn't want anything more than to see everybody's channels thrive, except for those that put out all of this negative energy, all of this destructive energy out there. I don't agree with them. I'm not going to co-sign them. I'm not going to be a part of that. And I will continue pointing out anything that you do that is detrimental to anyone that's watching, especially young people. And that is why we continue to do what we do. We are the exposed tube revolution. I'm not going to stop citing and, with ET and dropping my content and coming out live. I'm feeling a little better today. Although last night I took I took medicine, I went to sleep, and it knocked me out. I woke up like 15 minutes before I was supposed to start my shift. But I'm feeling good. I got some good rest. I'm productive. I try to stay productive. But in that productive state of mind, I also make sure that what I'm putting out there respects the norms. And once again, you can talk whatever you want. You can create the narratives you want to create in front of the court of public opinion. Okay, but once you start doing things that are a little reckless, that are a little, uncalled for, you're going to face the law and the prophets. Literally, you might face legal challenges, as you might also face karmatic challenges, if you believe in that, spiritual challenges, however you want to see it, if that's the energy that you're constantly feeding into and putting out there. And I feel bad for this. I guess this guy, I don't know if it's true. I heard Joker say that he lived with his mom. Imagine. Hopefully this didn't happen with her being present. But regardless of that, just knowing that someone came into your house with the sole objective of killing your son. Now, how is she going to live now? Will she be able to continue living in that apartment? Will she not now fear for her own life? Like, this is all of the collateral damage that comes from being wanton with your actions and not respecting, man, and thinking that you are bigger than the program, thinking that you are going to be the one that gets away with it. There's already been ample examples of it not working out. What makes you think that you are special? You should never think you're special. Look, the first step towards defeat is ego. And once you think you're special and untouchable, is when you're pretty much close to the fall off. You have to believe that. That is reality. That's usually how it goes. If you cannot be talked to, if you think you've reached the level where you've learned it all and you know it all, once you're at that level, you stop learning, you stop growing. That's it. And eventually you will become obsolete. And when I started my channel, once again, I thought of the long run. I want to continue putting out content for as long as I can. I enjoy it. I have good communication with a lot of you. I've met a lot of good people. I believe that I am putting something positive out there, regardless of what anybody says. Watch my videos from start to finish, and I think that you will agree that my message is positive. And if I do speak about, or if I have defended myself, it's that I've defended myself. Because unfortunately, in these spaces, you will receive attacks, hate, whatever. And as long as it stays in the comments, as long as it's I don't mind. You can put out content ridiculing me. I see what you guys put out there. It's okay. But if you're dishing it out, don't try to go nuclear once you start getting it back. No, I could sit here and say, I could put my hand on the Bible, raise my hand under oath, and say that the only people that I wanted to start going at and confronting, it's always been and continues to be Dubs and Gunner. And if anybody else comes in the way because of what we're on with the explosive revolution, then it's on. Everybody else kind of started going at me for no reason. Or maybe they have their reasons. But I didn't search for you until you guys started going after me. That's all I'm saying. But I keep it above the belt. And I'm going to continue doing that. Because the point of my channel is to show that there's a different way of doing things. I'm not going to fall prey into the things that others have done. No, I'm not going to fall into the actions that others have done just for clicks and views. I'm not about that. It's not that important to me. I mean, it's important for me to get my message across. It's important for me to take the stance that I take publicly, and for that to continue to be something that I'm on. That's important to me. But as far as anything else outside of this regarding YouTube, I've met a lot of people, like I said, we chop it up, and that's part of the blessings that I have received through creating the content that I create. I would not put that at risk, being wanton and reckless just to get clicks and views. You're not going to see that from me. All I'm going to do is come out here and talk papas. Ftdk's dropping knowledge, talking papas live. I know Wanton Wednesday. It's already Wednesday again. I was just saying, when I put up my thumbnail, I forgot to put the camel because it's hump day. I usually do. It's already Wednesday. It's kind of crazy. Time flies. Time flies. Time flies. Do you understand that you're not getting any younger? We're not getting any younger. We're only getting older. We're only running out of time. So make the most of what you can with your time. Choose your battles wisely. And make sure that when you're fighting those battles, that the way you fight it is magnanimous, and that you continue to push to be noble and to be honorable in all you do. And you have to have tenacity, be tenacious, because those are the keys. You have to have a tactical mind. You have to have tactics, be able to respond and act accordingly, regardless of what you feel, regardless of the things that are bombarding you. You got to keep moving forward, straight up, ever forward. Ftdk's dropping knowledge, talking papas live. Wanton Wednesday. Do not be wanton in your actions with people. When I was working on the not the video that I dropped today, but the video that I dropped yesterday, I was looking for videos like on YouTube of people begging online. It was the short that I dropped. I dropped a short video yesterday, a short that had to do with online begging. And while I was looking for one, I found a video, which I was going to use, but I ended up not, because it's kind of long. in which there's this guy and he's crying in front of the camera, but he's crying in front of the camera because he's asking for money, right? He's doing it for money. He's asking for money. He's on TikTok crying, asking for money. And then his mom walks in. I guess it's his mom or it's his grandma, which is an older white lady. And she's like, I just got a phone call that you're on in front of the camera crying, begging. And while she's like trying to talk, he's like trying to push her out. He's like, get out, get out, get out of my room. Like you're ruining my hustle. You're ruining my hustle. You will be exposed if you continue to scam people and hustle people online. This is not something that I have to do. It's just how it goes. It happens. Sometimes the algorithm pushes it until you're discovered. Until people realize that you're scamming them, that you're lying, that you're being devious, that you're being wanton and reckless with your content, with your online begging, with your bravado, the false bravado, with your threats, with your cosplaying, with your glamorization of prison and crime. Eventually, there is also a negative algorithm. Like, not everything is positive. Sometimes the algorithm will push your content, not necessarily your content, but the content that criticizes your content. Because if it becomes viral enough, even the platform will work against you. Haven't we seen it already happening? Don't we see it live? I'm tenacious in my hunt for the blessing. I wonder if they trade for the same. I don't know, bro. Sometimes you just have to sit back and observe. And everything, the content that we put out there, the things that we talk about on the collective, on Ladies of Explosive, on my channel when I go live, on everybody's content that we put out there, eventually comes to fruition. It's not because we're like, I don't know, prophets, although I believe I speak on the prophetic, but it's just common sense. It's common sense. It's common sense. If you're out there provoking people, if you're out there disrespecting people, those things have a way of coming back. And sometimes it might not even be the person that you're disrespecting. Sometimes there's people on the sideline that are like, you know what, man? I don't like this. I don't like how these people are getting down. And those people take action. Sort of like what happened with me. I was on the sideline of all the shit that Gunner, Skittles, and Ratas were doing online. I was on the sidelines already. I was not invested. I did not care. But when I saw the threats, when I saw the get down, when I saw the disrespect, I got up from the sideline and took my position against it. And a lot of people will do that silently. Because there are certain things that you should not be doing on social media. You should not be doing it. Like, you wouldn't be doing it out in front of other people. Why are you doing it online? If someone can explain that to me, like why that's good, please do so. I'm all ears. Luckily, squad always keep the positive style in direct fashion. People are being wanton, reckless, and then are surprised when it comes back and bites them in the ass, or when it riles people up against them. Like, what do you think is going to happen? You're dealing with human beings. You're not dealing with props. Maybe, some people are so used to having bots and paying for bots to kind of like, make their channels grow, that they think that everything is a bot or everyone's a bot. No, man, you're dealing with real people. And real people take action. And once they take action, it's kind of hard to put the genie back into the bottle. You have to be careful. You cannot be wanton with your content. But once again, it's got to be admissible. You got to be able to prove, right? Like no one's going to come at you unless they can prove something. Is all I'm saying. You got to be careful. A lot of these dudes are out here just making blatant comments, like disrespectful, like not any veiled threats, like actual threats out there on the open, and thinking it's okay and it's all the internet. But then you have situations where you realize that some people aren't going to take lightly, and it should never get that far. But once again, you don't know like who can feel provoked or disrespected to the point that it leads them to take certain actions. That's why you should be careful. That should give you precaution. That's right. None of them can explain why it's a good thing. That's why they stutter and deflect when confronted. Exactly, bro. There's a video I'm going to do about that on Friday, because tomorrow we're going to thump a little bit. Tomorrow's Throwback Thursday, so I'm going to come live with the jams. Hopefully we can go uninterrupted. The last one, I went uninterrupted, but I was able to kind of break it up with commentary, so we didn't get shut down. So we're gonna have that tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be Throwback Thursday. Frank Ftdk is dropping now stocking papas. We're gonna be bumping, so be prepared for that. Think about the songs you want to hear, the songs you want me to play. We're gonna do that. Well, the majority of Leonard's subscribers are bots. I guess they're easier to fool than real. Yeah. Yeah. You have to understand that there are still real people out here that still have real feelings, that still have real pride, real ego, that still have something to prove. There are men that will make sure till their very last breath that they are respected and will not think twice in making someone take their last breath for being disrespectful. And you see it here constantly. Do I agree with that? No, not necessarily. No, I think words are words. Threats are something different. Even if you can say that sometimes it's just words or people just being reckless making those threats. But there's a difference between being disrespectful and making a threat. And some people will not take lightly to threats. And you can't blame them. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've had to put up with. You don't know if they've been threatened before. And maybe that threat was acted upon, and now they are legitimately jittery around the prospect of being threatened. Like, how do you think you're going to come out here and play and be disrespectful and wanton and reckless and not catch some of that negativity back? Last Throwback Thursday went about as smoothly as we could hope for. Yeah, that was dope. We're going to continue doing that. Shout out to the homie Slugtown. Yeah, shout out to Slugtown, man. Chirps. Let's see. Being wanton is a fast lane to a wreck. When you move wild with no discipline, no morals, no self-control, don't be surprised when everything crashes out. Stay solid, not wanton. Palabra. That's right, Machete. That's why I wanted to come out here, man. I wanted to talk about this differently. No, I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody. I don't want to say and tell anyone what to do with their content. You can continue doing what you do. You can continue being reckless and wanton. That's on you. But you're not going to catch me in that, regardless of the narratives that you try to put out there. People have enough sense that when they listen to my live, when they see me go live and the things that I talk about, they know that I'm not being wanton or reckless. If anything, it's mostly educational, and it comes from the part of me that wants to do something positive in this sphere. And that's always going to be what my content is about, and it won't stop. That's right, Shankopotamus. So has been holding it down and letting the trolling bullshit. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's how we're going to continue to move. That's why shout out to Slugs and respect to him and his channel and his content. You know? But yeah, Argentina won today. I'm glad they did. I had a productive day, put out a video, came out live with you. I feel I had a very victorious day so far. You know? Because I've been tenacious. I've been magnanimous. I put into practice those things that I share with you. And I hope that this is one of those lessons. I hope that this is one of those topics that you can walk away with having learned something, having seen something a different way. Because that's my objective. My objective is not to come out here and fight 20 wars. I'm not out here for that. But I'll fight them. I'll fight them. I'll fight 20 wars. Spain, Argentina, I'm going for Argentina, bro. It's going to be a good game. Keyword tenacious. Keyword tenacious. So many fools with no morals want to hold everybody else to a moral standard. It gets obnoxious seeing them surprised when somebody else takes it to the next level. Like, you can't do that. Yeah. But I just watch and observe, and I'm glad sometimes that they do say what they say because, people love to show their hand. And that's good. Do more of that, please. I will continue dropping the content that I drop. I will continue doing what I do on these lives. Hey, what's up, 2 times? What's up, man? Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that's been a part of the live today. I'm almost off. I'm only going to be on for maybe like 2-3 more minutes. But I didn't want to end this live without once again sending my condolences to Mike Morello and his family, to everybody that's a part of his life that was impacted by, the sudden loss of our friend and sister, Sunshine, mother, wife, and friend. But we're going to continue doing what we do. We're going to continue holding you up honorably. Our content won't stop. We will continue exposing the frauds and the fakes because you wanted that too. And you supported us in that sense as well. So God bless you, Sunshine. May you rest in power. I want to just thank everybody and whoever's going through it out there, whether it be health-wise, monetarily, relationship-wise. I'm praying for every single one of you. May we all continue to move forward with our head held high, magnanimously, tenaciously, overcoming every single hurdle. Skittles are on Toll coming soon. 2 times. Rest in peace, Sunshines. That's right. Hey, I had to watch Machete. I'm about to end this. Rest in peace, Sunshine. That's right. Jay Slaughter, Egyptian. Rest in peace to Sunshine, man. Ladies of Exposed to will be dedicating their next live to Sunshine. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for ET, who should be coming up live in a few. Hopefully I'll catch you all there. We will continue doing what we do nonstop every day. I'm feeling better now. I know I'll continue to feel even better tomorrow. Talk to you guys next time. And like I always say around this time, stay safe, stay blessed, Stay dangerous. Do not be wanton with your actions. And